Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically we are talking about one topic, that is the which all currencies basically and its dependency. In this basically we are talking about one topic, that how project managers, if we recruit one of the project manager in the one of the task basically, then how basically is going to handle this all this task. In this basically we are talking about one topic, that is solution basically of the that is basically the solution basically of the ideas basically, and the ideas basically are global warming basically. In this basically we are talking about education equal to connected with, this is basically the 12th number solution basically, which is ongoing basically. How basically the solution basically can be connected, and how basically the ideas basically are basically. For example, ideas are equal to global warming, and in this basically education basically is error basically, and in this basically error we are discussing what 12th number solution basically, that up to that level basically we have reached. So in this basically the most dangerous topic, this is actually the very dangerous topic. For that basically land basically are also basically divided, that basically 99% basically we can say that basically land is divided. Why? Because the 80 percentage world basically is created on the base of the education data only basically. Education, what actually, one of the person asked the question basically, what actually education is, then basically one of the person told that education basically, you can say this is the education. Junior kg, from junior kg starts, senior kg, before that also basically might be there basically. When I was studying that by time basically junior kg was there, then class 1 10 MBA, then MTech, BCom, BE, everything basically is there basically, and others, and then the television basically is also there basically. Television basically is one channel also basically, and in that basically they basically trains the people also basically, and that's very dangerous thing basically. There basically they know everything basically. The groups basically who are into the Bollywood industry, they know basically the world has divided into 12 parts, sorry 11 parts basically, and they know that also basically that 20 percentage error there is there in the education, and they are also basically trying to find out, sorry they are basically, in short basically we can say, helping that person basically who has divided this world basically. That means that group basically are connected with the satellite group. They are not dependent on the government, they are not dependent on the any of the political party, they are individual, they are directly connected with the satellites group basically, and that group basically are directly connected with the satellite groups. Each and every stuff basically which is going to happen, that basically they know. That is basically the incidence basically, which we have already discussed. What actually incidence is, earthquakes basically, and earthquake equals to incidence, and incidents basically are created where basically, that also we have discussed. Canadian government, Canadian country, USA country, that's why basically they are so secure country basically, that's why they are secure, no, basically. Otherwise there is why security required basically, that is the one thing basically, because you are doing up to that level task basically, that's why basically you require the security. So one of the person told that basically, yes, here you are correct. That's why the USA is basically the most secure country basically. That's why basically USA basically is most secure country basically. That's why basically to get visa also basically it's very difficult. For example, I applied for visa basically, but I have not got the visa basically. Why basically? That might be some reason basically. Applied means I have basically sent the visa resume basically to one of the person basically who give the basically visa basically. He basically told that you basically do one thing, you take directly the green card. For that basically you would require money basically. That basically he told. You don't require. Then basically I asked actually to get the green card basically. You don't require money basically. Without money basically you can get the green card basically. That is not possible na basically. So it's very tough to get the visa basically. So 20 percentage error basically is there in the education, and USA is basically, lots of people say that USA is educated world basically. Educated world nahi basically. Educated country basically. But there also basically lots of people basically have not done the not finished the, they basically have not done the graduation also basically. Few people are there, that type people are also basically are there, but they are basically believing in the ideas basically, believing the ideas and doing their business basically. That's basically there basically. So they basically know that basically earthquakes are equal to incidents, and there basically entire country basically is running on the base of set of incidents only basically. That incidents basically are created by the 22 blood group. So USA, Canada, Russia, this all country basically is running on the base of this 22 blood group basically. If I say that, then also basically it would be 100% correct basically. That's why basically Russian group basically have their own security on security channel. They have their own news network. That also very powerful news network basically. They basically gets the information first of each and every 22 blood group incidents basically which has happened basically. And according to that only the earthquakes is going to come basically. So just see up to the chain basically we just see. Just I will take example. This 22 blood groups owner basically are there. Then 1% yes basically. They are connected with each blood group basically owner are connected with at least basically they are connected with 70-80 crore people. If this particular owner basically is going to get effect, is his blood group is going to get effect some with some energy or basically some bad energy or basically good energy, that is going to affect directly to 70 crore people basically. 70 crore people are going to affect due to this blood group basically. Reason, this blood group data are basically circulated to this 70-80 crore people basically. First he gets the data, the blood group owner basically, that are the 22 blood group owner basically gets the data in this world basically, and then basically the 80-90 crore people gets the data. Like this the sequence chain basically connects. If he is getting effect, that means directly the 70-80 crore people are going to affect. That data basically when it is going to be generated in the environment basically and basically collected by the nuclear power company groups basically and the energy groups basically, and then basically it's done some manipulation and each and everything basically are done, and then the China, Canada and the Japan and the USA basically takes that data basically. Few people are very fast basically. Whenever the incidents happen in the with the hell with these 22 blood groups, that time only basically they gets the data basically, which type of data it was basically. So like this basically they gets the data and then basically they start doing the incidents basically. So few people says that basically after earthquakes happens, they only basically start the incident basically, because it might possible that the problem will get solved of this 22 blood group immediately. Then basically there is earthquake is not going to happen. Earthquake is not going to happen. So earthquake is not going to happen. Earthquake is not going to happen, and then basically the power supply is going to become normal basically. Because earthquake is not going to happen basically due to that blood group basically the problem is already solved, and immediately basically their data is also sent to the 80-90 crore people basically. Sometime basically the immediate data basically are also sent. So that's basically that type of utilities are there basically. That's why basically they are sending basically. So like this 22 blood groups we affected, and then basically if problem gets solved immediately, then basically it's okay, because you can't solve the problem immediately also, because you have to see each and every depthness of the energy basically which is connected, and then each and everything basically which is connected, then only basically you can solve the data basically. Then basically the earthquakes basically happens if the problem is not solved, and then the basically earthquake happens, then basically immediately the incidents happen, and then basically incidents basically what is that incidents that basically we have already discussed, and then according to the incidents lots of things basically happens. That basically is one thing. Then basically the 200 people that basically we have already discussed. That basically one example I have taken, that of the cyber cell groups, systems, Supreme Court, High Courts and police department. Each and every departments basically are responsible for this 200 people story basically. That also basically we have discussed long before basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this all basically connected to one story basically.